All right, hello and welcome to your yin class. Today we're going to be focusing on releasing throughout the thoracic region. So think mid and upper back. We're also going to finish a little bit in the cervical spine, which is just a nice complement in that it sits on top of the thoracic. But you will need some equipment today to support our practice. So a set of yoga blocks can be really helpful. You're also going to want 2 myofascial release balls or lacrosse or tennis if you don't have them, and then probably 1 or 2 blankets to support you in the practice. But we're going to begin by releasing right at the sides of the thoracic region. So think the chest and the lats and underneath the armpit. So for that, we're going to need a block, but also bring a ball with you because we're going to also find another area a little bit deeper into the shoulders. So placing your block on its mid setting, go ahead and come to lay on your left side. And you're going to place that block on its mid setting right into the armpit region. And then let your head fall into your hand for support. So the edge of the block should find the upper part of the rib cage right underneath the armpit. And the other edge of the block is right at where the arm starts to connect with the shoulder. Now, before you add in any movement, I'm going to invite you to let your side body become really heavy. Imagine like your left side rib cage melting towards the floor. So you feel yourself getting heavier onto this block. Your right arm can be however is comfortable. If it's nice to rest it on the side of your body or on the floor in front of you, whatever feels the best in your body and your practice. Maybe even closing the eyes or softening the gaze just to start to melt into this shape. And then I'm going to invite you to start to focus on your breath. So again, just staying in stillness, inviting in this sense of compression in the body. Start to focus on your in and your out breath. Letting yourself just melt even closer towards the floor, lingering here in the breath. So today's practice is also really nice for supporting, countering bad posture. So if we sit a lot at our computers or if we're on our phones a lot, we have that kind of rounding of the upper back. So today that's what we're going to focus on is opening through this front thoracic region of the body and encouraging this strengthening or retracting in the back body when it's hunched and it's overly stretched. So again, we're going to move really slowly. So if you have this right hand laying on your body, I'm going to invite you to bring it in front of you on the floor. And just lean forward about 45 degrees so you feel more weight in the chest compression on the block than you do on the back side of the body. Once you land there, take 2 deep breaths. And then using your right hand on the floor to move the body backwards, lean backwards. So now the chest is somewhat off the block and the majority of the weight is on the back side of the body. And then again, take 2 deep breaths here. And we're going to move really slowly forward and back, but let your right hand do the majority of the work as you lean forward to that 45 degrees, targeting more into the chest. And then as you slowly rock back into the back body, and maybe you match your movement with your breath really slowly, using an in-breath or an out-breath to rock forward, and the next breath to take you back. Or perhaps you take a breath and then you pause in the next position for the next breath. Again, whatever feels the most natural and helpful for you and your body in this practice today. Just let the body be really heavy. Keep thinking of that side, that left rib cage melting towards the floor, letting your body be really anchored down. And the next time you start to come either forward or back, pause in the middle where we began and take another breath here. Release your left hand from your head and bring your elbow to the floor to lift yourself just enough that you can take the myofascial release ball, and we're going to place it on the block. And I want to show you where we're going into the subscapularis. So think of the shoulder blade, but in the front. So something we can't really palpate on the body, but the ball is going to go right there in that chunk of the armpit. And as we lean forward at that 45 degree, it's going to go up and into that subscapularis. So again, place the ball on your block. Let it come right into the meaty part of the armpit. Re-support your head into that left hand. Bringing your right hand to the floor in front of you. Lean forward about 45 degrees so you kind of feel the ball moving backwards to being in front of the shoulder blade. And this might be an area that's really tender, especially if you've never found this spot before. So we're just going to stay here in this compression and focus on softening and just breathing into the space we're creating. Let your head be heavy in your left hand. Let your left side body keep draping down towards the floor. And you're kind of leaning forward about, again, that 45-degree angle. And once you feel like you're in this spot, noticing something that might be a little tender, start to deepen your breath and allow yourself to linger in this stillness. And take another deep breath here. And then slowly start to come out of your 45-degree lean. Release your left arm and press yourself up to have a seat. And we'll pause for just a moment to notice the difference between this side body on the left through the thoracic region and the right side body. Just notice what you notice between the two sides. I know for me, the left side, the shoulder feels more relaxed and open, but there's no right or wrongs to notice. And we're going to do that whole thing on the other side when you're ready. So bring your block and your ball with you as you come to lay on your right side body. And again, the block will be on its mid setting, and we're going to place it right there in the armpit region. Let your right hand support your head, and just let the body be really heavy. Think of letting your right side body melt down towards the floor, cascading like a waterfall. This first ridge of the block will be right at the beginning of the armpit where the rib and the shoulder come together. And then the other ridge will be right where the arm and the shoulder come to meet. And again, we're not going to move for the first few breaths. We're just going to linger in this compression, letting the body be really heavy and bringing our awareness to the breath. Again, we're just going to find a little bit of movement to begin. So you had your left hand resting on your side body. Go ahead and bring it in front of your chest onto the floor. And then just lean forward about 45 degrees so you feel more compression of body weight into the chest region. And pause here, and we'll stay for 2 deep breaths. And then using your left hand to do the work, slowly lean back so you're more into the back body. And again, pause and stay for 2 breaths. And we'll just add in that movement forward and back really slow. Again, matching it to your breath, or perhaps taking a breath to get to one side and then staying for the next breath. Whatever feels the most practical for you and your body this day. Releasing this entire ridge of tissue that connects the front and the back body. And then the next time you're transitioning, just come back to the middle and pause. Release your right arm and grab that myofascial release ball. We're going to place it on top of the block like we did on the other side, right into the armpit. And then come back down, supporting the head into the hand. And then find that 45-degree lean forward. As you lean forward, the ball should slide back a little bit into that subscapularis. And we're just going to stay here and focus on the breath. So nice, deep breath. Even if it's a little tender, softening and letting your body be really relaxed here. And take another deep breath here. And there's no rush, but take your time to come back up into that seated posture, just to use that as an opportunity to check in. And notice now how you feel through both sides, hopefully a little bit more even. But compare that to when you first arrived on your mat as well, and notice if there's any changes throughout this side body in that thoracic region. And we're going to come into our next area, which is going to be really for the rhomboids, which is this muscle that runs right in between the shoulder blade and the spine. So for this, you'll want a blanket and 2 balls. And to get into it, we'll have to have a little bit of setup, but I kind of just want to show you ideally where the balls will be going is right in between the spine and the shoulder blade. So the balls will really be nudged right up next to the spine. So to set this up, we'll set the balls on the floor. So you'll have one ball, just one on top of the other, and place it more towards the left side of your mat. And then you're going to place a blanket at the top of your mat, and that's just going to be there like a pillow for the head. So we don't have to overthink that too much, just a folded blanket. Now we're going to come to lay down, and when you lay down, think the balls right on the edge of the shoulder blade, right next to the spine. So the balls are in place. You'll kind of have to wiggle your way into it. Otherwise, you have to have some pretty decent shoulder mobility to place the balls once you're already down to reach up and under. So as you lay down, again, it should feel like they're right nestled in between the shoulder blade and the spine. And you might feel a little offset, like the side of your body that the balls are on. For me, it's the right is elevated and the other side is like cascading down towards the floor. And that's kind of the sensation we're going for. So the side of the body that has the balls, extend that arm out to the side like a T. And you can bring that blanket in, roll it up, whatever you need to support your head and your neck. Let your body be really heavy into the balls, and we're just going to stay in this gentle compression, focusing on our breath. When you think about this region that we're focusing on right now, when we're at our phones or our computers, we have that rounding of the shoulder blade region. So this area becomes overly stretched. And it doesn't typically know when to fire up to retract and pull the chest open and the shoulder blades back towards the spine. So that's what we're wanting to find here, is this fire or invigorating of this rhomboid to activate and to come out of its overly stretched sensation and to feel more supported. And just keep focusing on your breath. Let your body be heavy. Let your extended arm be heavy. And take another deep breath here. And then to release, we're going to roll onto the side of the body that the balls are not under. So if the balls are on your right shoulder, roll onto your left side to come off of them. And then press yourself up. And we're just going to come right into the other side. So taking those balls and moving them to the other side of your mat. Imagining if you're already laying down kind of where your spine would be, and then they're going to be right next to that. And then slowly lower yourself down, again, adjusting as needed so the balls are right in between the shoulder blade and the spine. And then extending that arm out to the side, bringing that blanket of pillow support for your neck and head. And then coming back to your breath. And take another deep breath here. And then again, to come out of this, we're going to roll the opposite direction of where the balls are. So they're now under your left shoulder. Slowly start to roll over to your right. Bring your left arm with you. And then come up to have a seat. Taking your time to come off of your props. And we're going to focus on releasing now through the whole shoulder cavity. So for this, you're not going to need any props. So go ahead and set your balls and your blankets off to the side. And ideally what we're going to do, we're going to be laying on our backs, but what we're going to find here is one arm is going to be placed under the back and the other arm is going to be placed under the head. So one arm under the back will be internally rotated and the other arm would be externally rotated. So go ahead and come onto your back with your knees bent. We'll start with the right arm internally rotated. So right arm, palm will be towards the floor. Lean to your left and slide your right hand underneath your back anywhere. Now, the more up your back the right arm goes, the more intensity there can be in the front of this right shoulder. So anywhere between the low back, thoracic, all the way up to the shoulder blades. But make sure it's something that you can linger in. So if you're already feeling a sharp pulling sensation in the front of the right shoulder with the arm up, maybe pull it down just a little bit. And if you have no sensation at all, maybe pull the arm up closer towards the head a little bit. And then the left arm is going to come into that external rotation, bringing the hand behind the head, reaching towards the shoulder blades. So the right arm, palm down towards the floor underneath your body. And then the left arm, palm facing upwards underneath your head. And then the body is providing the compression here, weighing onto the arms. So come back to your breath once you're in your posture. And let your body be really heavy and grounded here. And take another breath here. When you're ready, release your left arm or whatever arm is behind the head first. And then release the arm underneath your back. Pause for just a moment, extending your arms long about by your side. Notice the sensation in the shoulders and the chest. And then we're just going to flip that around. So take your left hand, palm towards the floor, lean onto your right so you can slide that left hand underneath your body. Make sure the left elbow is still on the floor. It's not coming up off the floor. Internally rotating on the left, and then we're going to externally rotate as we place the right hand behind the head or the neck. And then again, let your body get heavy and just focus on your breath. And take another breath here. And then slowly release the hand behind the head first. Roll onto the side body to release the hand that's under your back. And again, just come back to center. Extend your arms long by your side. And just take a breath. I'm going to find one more release. So for this, you're going to need a blanket and a ball again. So go ahead and find yourself into a more upright position. Grab your blanket. You're going to want to fold it so it's kind of a rectangle shape. And you just want it to be kind of as long as your chest and torso region. So not overly long, but enough that when we come to lay on our bellies prone, the blanket is supporting everything from the rib cage towards the throat. And we're going to start on the right. So you're going to place the ball in the upper right corner of your blanket. And when we come to lay down, the ball is going to be nestled right in the meaty part of the chest underneath the clavicle or the collarbone. And we're going to, once the ball is in place, we're going to cactus shape the arm. And then we'll bring the opposite leg out towards the side just to put a little bit more body weight into it. But we'll take it step by step. So you've got this rectangle fold, and then the ball is in the upper right corner of the blanket. Go ahead and start to come onto your belly, and again, place this meaty part of your chest under the collarbone right on top of the ball. Now your right hand will come into that little bit of a cactus shape. Let your left knee come out to the side like a kickstand, and then your left arm is going to bend to support your head as you lower your head onto your left arm. If you don't have a lot of sensation, you might need to move the ball around a little bit into the chest tissue until you feel it releasing through the pecs or the chest region. Again, let your body be really heavy, and once you feel a spot that's just a little tender but something you can still soften into, come back to your breath. And take another deep breath here. And then start to lift your head. Extend your left leg back behind you. And just switch the ball over to the other side. So bring it towards the left upper corner and come right into the other side. So just bringing that ball right into the chest tissue on the left side. Bring your right leg out like a little bit of a kickstand, and then use your right arm to support the head. Again, if you don't have a lot of sensation through the chest, you might need to move the ball a little bit closer towards the chest, away from the clavicle. But find something that you can really soften into with a little bit of sensation speaking back to you. And take another deep breath here. And then slowly bring your right leg back through and use your hands to press yourself up and back off of your belly. And we're going to come into one more shape. This one, you're going to need 2 blankets and a block. You can set your ball off to the side. So stack another blanket that's about the same size as the one we just had. So that little rectangle of support for the upper body. And then have your block on its lowest setting behind that, and that'll just be for the back of the head. Now we're going to come back into a supine position. So on our backs, the pelvis will be off of the blankets, but everything from the low back to the shoulder blades is going to be on the blanket, and then your head will rest on the block. And then from there, extend your arms out to the side like a T. So the whole upper body thoracic region is elevated above the hips, the pelvis. And then the arms extending out are inviting the sensation of opening through the chest, countering typical office posture where we kind of have that concave chest when we're typing at the computer. Again, bring the awareness back to your breath once you find yourself in this shape. And let your body be really heavy and grounded onto your blankets of support. And take another deep breath here. And then slowly start to bring your arms closer to your body. Press your elbows into the floor and use that to come up to have a seat. As we come into our final posture, you can set your block off to the side and you can take one of your blankets away. But grab both of your myofascial release balls. This rectangle blanket, you're going to fold it once more, so it's kind of like you're making it the size of a yoga block on its lowest setting. Now take the 2 myofascial release balls, and underneath this first layer of flap, so really close to the top layer of the blanket, place them side by side and slide them into the flap of the blanket. So now we have these balls inside the blanket, so they're not going to move under the neck, but we'll be able to kind of feel them like a neck massage. So once you have them side by side in the middle of your mat, right as close to the top layer as you can get them, we're going to place the actual curvature of the neck, or right at the base of the skull if that feels more comfortable for you, on the balls. So again, you might have to kind of move them around But once they're in the blanket, they should be pretty much set in place. So you can move the blanket or move your body. But again, anywhere above the curvature of the neck and the base of the skull that feels helpful for you. And I know this isn't really part of the thoracic, but also for posture, we tend to also let the neck kind of hinge forward. So releasing through the back of the neck can also be really supportive in countering our typical computer posture. So let your head be really heavy. And this is where we're going to finish today. So however you like the legs, just let yourself feel really grounded and supported. And just releasing through now the cervical spine, the back of the head, an area that can hold a lot of tension. And bring that awareness back to your breath, taking nice, slow, deep breaths. And feel your body melting as you exhale, softening, letting go. Making sure there's not tension in the brow or the jaw. Really this sense of restoring your body and your nervous system. And I strongly encourage you, if you have a few more moments and you can linger here, to stay here for as long as you can. But if it's time to move on with your day, and however you like, we'll meet in a comfortable seated posture, knowing there's no rush and taking your time to get there. If you did come off feeling that tingly or warm sensation in the back of the skull, as the blood comes back in, rehydrating these very important tissues that support the neck and the head. And if you're seated, take a moment and notice how your whole upper body posture feels. Hopefully the chest feels more open and the back more alive and pulled together. With that, I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. And I want to thank you for making the time to share your practice on your mat with me today. May you stay feeling well from my heart to yours. Be well, my friends.